Although the delectable smells floated into her nostrils and made her mouth water, she focused on the restaurant's lovely atmosphere as the server brought their food. The waiter dismissed her request for Decker and left. She told her daughter, "I'm not tipping him." She had no idea that the man leaving would control her life. Christy Jolly, a 60-year-old New Yorker, wanted to celebrate Melissa's promotion at work by taking her daughter out to lunch. Christy, a single mom, endured much. She struggled raising her daughter alone. She just wanted to spend time with Melissa and enjoy life as a retired senior. But that restaurant would destroy everything she'd worked for. Christy celebrated Melissa's first job promotion. She and her daughter had lunch at a Manhattan restaurant before cooking dinner at home to celebrate. After making arrangements, the two ordered pizza at a famous pizzeria. While waiting for the pizzas, something happened that would set the week in motion. Christy was considering decorating her new house. She debated style. The restaurant's rustic country decor caught her eye. She thought asking the waiter about the decor's name and designer would be the best solution, but she noticed something. She had no idea that asking the waiter a simple question would keep her awake. Frank Bringer, the pizzeria's owner, is proud of Pat's 1933 founding. Over 86 years, photos of famous patrons have been painstakingly collected and hung on the walls. If you like my videos, don't forget to like or subscribe. Thanks in advance. The waiter saw the two women studying the wall as they waited to be served. The older woman's unhappy face alerted the server to a problem. The 27-year-old waiter served tables at Harlem's Pat's Pizzeria as usual. He worked hard and smiled to pay for medical school. Unbeknownst to him, one woman on his lunchtime shift would test his patience to the limit. Tommy smiled and ordered 2 New York pizza slices. Good. But when Tommy returned, the older woman stopped him and pointedly asked a question that he would never forget. Tommy, unprepared for the confrontation, was speechless. The waiter served Christy and Melissa. As he served them, Christy asked about the decor, but he surprised her. "I don't know what to say," the waiter said curtly. "Please ask the manager." Christy asked him again. "Why are there so few pictures of women on the wall?" she demanded. "Maybe women don't eat pizza," Tommy stammered. "Fail." Christy frowned. She considered that unprofessional. She had to teach him. Tommy Markage instantly regretted his response. He cursed himself for letting personal issues interfere with his service as his body heated up. He considered returning to the woman and her daughter to apologize, but feared escalating matters. Knowing he'd missed that tip, he wiped his face. He was unaware of the woman's fate. Tommy expected to serve good and bad customers. Some were rude. Even though he prepared for the worst, rude customers still stung. However, he committed to serving all his customers equally well. He prayed for no more trouble today since tips were his livelihood. He never expected the day to turn out so strangely. After an hour, the woman and her daughter bought pizzas and left. Tommy quickly cleared their table even though he was sure she hadn't left a tip. He stacked dirty plates and picked up serviettes. Seeing it then. Tip wasn't expected. He found a more hurtful note in the bill folder. "Maybe women don't tip either," the receipt read. Tommy was incredulous. He saw something else. A clean paper was beside a used serviette. Tommy grabbed it thinking it was another sheet to dump. However, he recognized it as he approached. Tommy nearly spilled the dishes. When he saw it, he swallowed hard. How could she leave it? Tommy's check. No $100 or $1,000 check either. $424,000. Tommy examined the check. Tuition fees had caused problems at medical school for a week. It explained his recent stress. Without money, he'd miss finals. This check would fix more than the issue. Tommy faced a major choice. He could teach her a powerful lesson. He deliberated. He could throw the check away without anyone knowing. Karma could allow it. That would make him mean like the woman who ruined his day. Do what? Christy rode in her daughter's car home from lunch. She told Melissa she'd cashed out her life savings in a check and had enough to buy her new home. She sold her apartment and used the proceeds to buy a new home. She couldn't locate the check in her bag. Her world was crumbling. Anxiety seized her heart and stomach. No check. Christy informed Melissa. She said she'd put the check in her bag 5 hours earlier but couldn't find it. The two searched the city by calling and visiting Christy's previous stops before lunch. The manager's response left them speechless. The manager assured, "We haven't seen it." He claimed that a minor document found on their premises would have been returned immediately. Christy called the bank to report the case, but the response was worse than the restaurant's. Before freezing it, the bank said anyone could cash the large check for 3 months. Her stomach bloated. She would lose her life savings. Because it was a cashier's check, they couldn't cancel it immediately. "I would have to wait at least 3 months before they could start the process, and only if someone didn't cash it," Karen said. That check gave Karen a home. She slept on a different couch each night with friends. Christy went to bed upset by everything. She couldn't believe she'd lost everything she'd accumulated over 40 years. She watched her blood, sweat, and tears disappear. Pain-numb, she sat through the night. Life is cruel, how? Tommy and his manager spent the evening at the restaurant. They'd spent the entire afternoon and evening trying to trace a Christy Jolly, the woman whose name was on the $400,000 check. After Tommy found the check, he'd considered cashing it for a chance to change his life but knew he couldn't. He ran to his manager with the check, and they started searching for her. Why wasn't she found? "Usually we put things left behind in the lost and found box in the back," he said. "But I wasn't going to do that with almost $500,000, Tommy said. Frank failed to find the woman whose name was on the check. He waited to see if she returned. "We decided to hold on to the check for a couple days to see if she would drop by or if we could find her," he said. Tommy and his manager couldn't find a Christy Jolly who matched her description. New York Daily News responded 3 days later to their request for assistance. They encountered a woman searching the city for a similar check. Karen reached the pizzeria in 30 minutes. Tommy met her at the door. Did she regret stiffing him so rudely? When Tommy met the woman to give her the check, she hugged him and thanked him for being so amazing even though she was mean to him. She had unsuccessfully called a different restaurant branch. "Don't ever change," she cried. Frank says she was happy and crying. She became shy when she saw Tommy. She felt foolish. At least she offered the hardworking server a finder's fee and apologized profusely for her meanness. Tommy's reaction surprised everyone. Christy apologized, but Tommy refused the money. "I'm happy for her," he said. "Saturdays are busy, and I was close to throwing everything left on the table out when I saw an envelope." Christy and Tommy reconciled over hot pizza, and Frank showed her the photo wall to prove a point. Frank showed Christy the wall of memories and all the women's faces she missed that Saturday. Barbara Walters, First Lady Chillen McCrae, Christine Quinn, and Melissa Mark Viverito were pictured. Christy's rude comment to Tommy was wrong and uncalled for. Frank offered something else to emphasize his point. "We joked with her and said we'd add her picture to the wall," he laughed. But do you think Christy will think twice about leaving a nasty note for a server in future? Servers' financial struggles are well known. Few people realize that service workers are paid differently than those in other industries. Tipped minimum wage is a fraction of the federal minimum wage. Tips should cover a server's remaining income, but they don't always. This unfairly subjects servers like Tommy to the whims of their paying customers. Some are challenging it. The owner of many New York City bars and restaurants, Danny Mayer, has eliminated tipping. "I just decided, instead of blaming the tipping system for what didn't seem fair or right, why not take it into our own hands," he said in an interview. Danny Mayer's example should inspire others. This will ensure that service workers like Tommy receive fair pay for their valuable work and don't live off tips. Thanks for watching. I'll see you again in the next video.